What's going on, YouTube? What's going on? Due to where I'm at, I don't have the confidence in the world when it comes to their internet. I am going to not cam up because I'm going to be reacting to a video. So I want to keep this stream going as smooth as possible. Um, their Wi-Fi seems to be a little bit better since that power outage when I first got here, but um, I want to do my best to try to avoid, going in and out on you guys. I want the stream to go as smooth as possible. So Make sure it's not taking up too much juice. I am gonna stay not cammed up because, like I said, I'm gonna be reacting to a video, so that's only gonna make things a little bit more complicated. All right. So with that being said, let's see who is in the chat. Give me 1 second, you guys. All right. See here. Alrighty. All right. So let's see who's in the chat. Justin Harrison, what's going on, brother? And the other Justin, what's going on, man? Mr. Guap. Let's see, who else do we got in the building? Talk chickens, man. My young gunner, bro. It's been a while, brother. How you doing? Craig, what's going on, brother? Global Passport crew in the building. What's the difference? Said Brazilieras act like they were standoffish back in 2020 of November when I was in Rio. That's interesting. Because the guy that you see on the screen has a little bit of a different take. So, but you know, everybody's experience is different. I had a conversation with somebody about this behind the scenes the other day, and judging by their reaction, they're not too happy about my experience because they're from here. So, but it is what it is, you know. Jeff, what's going on, brother? I don't know. Some people got this attitude like everything is peaches and cream, but it's like it's really not. But like I said, part of the reason why they come off that way is, like I said, because they're from here. But I digress. Let's keep it moving. Let's see. Dino, what's going on, brother? Mister. Yeah, pretty soon I'll be back home as well, man. I go home Monday, so it's gonna be my last weekend out. And I actually got a date lined up tomorrow, so that'll be interesting. Long as she doesn't flake. Uh, Kind of gonna be going over that, Rolando, as well. T Real, what's good, my boy? At my bar, sitting outside listening to you while staff do their thing. Oh man, that's what's up, brother. I appreciate it. Shout out to M6205. He said get them likes up. Got the brother Trey in the building. Phoenix 50,000. What's up, brother? Nunu, Walter K from Thailand. What's going on, brother, man? As of right now, man, Thailand is looking to be my destination, man. My next destination. I'm thinking because I did originally plan on coming back here in February for Carnival, but yeah, I might touch on why tonight, but that's gonna be more of a conversation about tomorrow. See, Prime VA 757, what's going on? Yeah, the season pretty much over with for the Bengals, man. I won't be watching football for the rest of the year now. After getting that news earlier today, so it is what it is, man. That's football, bro. Yeah, that's the name of his channel too. Redbeard Rants. Um, yeah, I apologize, you guys, because I didn't tag him because I wasn't really familiar with him. This is like my first time ever seeing this guy. But yeah, that's the name of this guy's channel. You got Redbeard Rants. So if you want to check him out, that's the name of his channel. Yeah, it's looking that way right now, but the problem is it looks like they lost their tight end for the rest of the year. But they backup tight ends ain't too bad either. I'm like, but the problem with the Ravens is that my Bengals have recently had more success in the playoffs than the Ravens have since getting Lamar Jackson. Because for some reason, as soon as the playoffs hit, all of a sudden, Lamar Jackson doesn't play like he does in the regular season. But they got a pretty stout defense, man. So that's always going to give them a chance. So we'll see what happens. I mean, anytime the playoffs come about, I always root for my AFC North teams, man. So it's like I'm not really I'm not as much of a hater as like some people are towards my team. One brother in particular, I'm not, you know what, I should say his name because he talks so much shit, Mr. Bones, Corleone, because he tagged me in some bullshit this morning after finding out about Joe Burrow being gone for the season. I'm thinking to myself, like, bro, like, dude, you just don't give up. I'm like, as many times as Lamar Jackson been hurt, I'm like, I've never once shitted on your team after him being hurt or whatever the case may be. But it is what it is, man. Like I said, you can always tell people who shit talk the most are the ones that are not used to their team being successful. Because even during that 4-game winning streak, I stayed quiet, and it was still other guys like running their mouth. So it is what it is, man. Money Mitch, what's going on, brother? Whoa, hold on, whoa, whoa. Wow, man. Evan H dropping in with the bomb. 49.99 super chat says, I've been to both Colombia and Brazil, and I will say that the Brazilians were hotter. However, the Colombians were friendlier and more feminine. Plus, keep in mind, Brazil is bringing back visas January 10th, 2024. Hopefully, they postpone that. Cheers. Well, I got a feeling that they probably not are going to postpone it because they actually already postponed that, Evan, because the visas were supposed to go back in effect back in October, about a month ago. So I think part of the reason why they pushed it back to January is, kind of they started off at the beginning of the new year. versus starting it, you know, at the end of this year. Um, but I've heard similar, and I think the brother on the screen is probably going to say something similar as well, because I have heard that feminism is slowly starting to creep into Brazil a little bit. So kind of got that factored in. 'Cause I heard that from the guy on the screen, and I've heard that from a few other people as well. Um, Now, I won't say feminism has creeped into Colombia, but I will say I think um, American culture, United States culture in particular, is starting to seep in as far as like some of the negatives and some of the entitlement that women possess in the United States. I'm starting to sense that a little bit down here because there was, well, I'll go over that later. I'm gonna give you guys an example of a woman that I was supposed to link up with since I've gotten in Barranquilla, and it's where the way she handled this situation, man, it just like damn, just came off very very materialistic, but uh, which was one of the things that I was talking about to somebody behind the scenes, but this person got in their feelings. So, but I digress, man. Thank you for that, brother. Thank you so much for your contribution. Pro tips plus with the $5 super chat says this young man has been putting in work. Let's sponsor his last weekend. Oh man, thank you, brother, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you, man. Thank you. To be honest with you, not like I want to. Not like, well, what should I say more like not like I need to. That's probably the better way to say it. Not like I need to. Cause just when I think one stands out is like boom, red flag. And I'm like the girl that I was just mentioning, here in Barranquilla. Cause I don't know if I showed y'all a long time ago, there was a girl here who I said I kind of fumbled the bag on, um, that I really, really wanted. But when I come back down here to see her, she I don't want to waste too much time talking about it. I want to get to this video, but yes, yes, yes. Well, the fortunate thing is Phoenix 50,000 is you're gonna have so many options that you pretty much just got to double and triple book. You have to do that because one time when I was in Medellin, I had to cancel on one chick because both of them were actually didn't flake, so I had to cancel on one of them because I have experienced flakiness in Colombia. It's gonna happen to you, but the lucky thing is that you're gonna have so many options that you'll be able to double and triple book, and you know whichever one you know is the most promising. That's what you go with. That's pretty much all you can do down here. But the beauty of it is you're gonna have options to do that. You know what I mean? So that's how you have to combat the flakiness. Be honest with you. Alrighty. Well, yeah, Global Passport Crew. I was just making an educated guess. Then that makes a lot of sense as well. Um, oh my goodness. Sorry, bro. All right. So, like I said, the name of this brother is Red Beard Rants. Let me dot my I's and cross my T's before we get started. And he's going to share his experience between dating in Brazil versus dating in Colombia. Now, me myself, I haven't been to Brazil yet, but I may or may not give him a little bit of pushback as far as some of his experience in Colombia, because his dating experiences in Colombia is solely based on Medellin and no other cities. And as you guys know, Medellin is more of a tourist town compared to Barranquilla, where I'm at now. So you're definitely going to see a difference if you go to one of the tourist towns in comparison to other cities. All right. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. Man, shout out to Abdul, man. How you doing, brother?
I'm going to document my personal dating experience in Brazil as well as my dating experience in Colombia. Two massively, massively different countries. Actually, I would say that Brazil as a country is more similar to America than it is to Colombia. Go figure. Okay, so here's the things we're going to talk about. I have my notes right here. We're going to talk about the English rate in each country. We're going to talk about the resentment towards foreigners, or the lack of resentment towards foreigners, femininity of the women, the average attractiveness of the women in each country, the gold digger factor, the average intelligence that I found in each country, and of course, dating. So in summary, the kind of like Spark Notes version of this video, talking about dating, right? This is what you guys are here for, the dating aspect mostly. Brazil is an infinitely more difficult dating market, but it is an infinitely more rewarding dating market. So in a country like Colombia, especially a city like Medellin, the coastal cities, Barranquilla, maybe even Bogota, etc., any schlub can just buy a plane ticket, go there, get on Tinder, get on Instagram, and start meeting women. Oh, by the way, all the women that you're seeing on the screen, I meet basically 100% of my women using Instagram. I very rarely use dating apps anymore. So if you want to know exactly step by step how to meet women on Instagram and free yourself from using these god-awful dating apps, there is a video in the description of this video. Just click the link and I'll send you that video. Again, it's in the description of this video you're watching here. You can get that link. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So in Colombia, it's extremely easy for any normal guy to just come in the country, black, white, Asian, etc., doesn't matter, and get some really easy wins. In Brazil, that is not the case. I mean, let's just look at your competition in each country. I have my notes here. In Colombia, and you can Google this, the average height of a man in Colombia is about 5'6", 5'7" on average. The average wage is somewhere in the realm of $300 US. Almost none of them work out, lift weights, etc. And overall, they just have a very feminine affect. They have a very feminine, not very masculine vibe to them. All right, now let's compare that to Brazil. In Brazil, in contrast to what we said about the Colombian men, there are tall, jacked, good-looking guys everywhere, okay? The average height, I feel like, must be in the realm of like 5'11", 6 feet. I'm 5'10" and a half. Most guys I walk past on the street are a lot taller than me. Like I said, huge workout culture. The guys are jacked. There's an insane genetic diversity. So don't think like, oh, they've never seen an Asian guy. They've never seen a blue-eyed white guy, black guy. They've seen it all. Brazilian guys tend to be very, very masculine, and the wages they earn are orders of magnitude higher than what the average Colombian would make. You know, Rio and Sao Paulo are just more, well, Brazil in general is a more expensive country, but especially Rio de Janeiro, and Sao Paulo are very expensive places to live, and therefore a lot of the guys there make really, really good money. So overall, it's just a lot harder to be that special gringo, that foreigner that's going to slip in and be, you know, this new breath of fresh air. They're used to high value guys, high income guys, masculine, buff guys. Like I said, whereas in Colombia, you know, average guy doesn't work out, short, broke, weird, feminine vibe. So it's a lot easier by contrast to kind of beat out your competition in that country versus Brazil. However,
now I kind of agree and disagree with his thoughts on Colombian men. As far as the working out aspect, and things of that nature, yeah, you're not gonna see a bunch of jack guys that look like they work out in Colombia. But if you were to sit over here and say to these Colombians that they were not masculine, they would have a problem with it. The term machismo exists for a reason in Colombia. You hear a lot of Colombian women um, call Colombian men machismo. And part of the reason why is because for the very thing that he mentioned. Um, are there some Colombian men that may come off a little bit more feminine? Yeah, but it's not the majority. It's not the majority at all. Um, and I'm like, I would say that you're probably gonna see more women in the gym than you would men. So that aspect of it is, in my opinion, somewhat true based on my experience and what I've seen. So yeah, Jeff, yeah, you're right, man. It's a numbers game, pretty much. See, I still got women from Medellin texting me, even at this very moment, even though I've been bad in Kia, man. So yeah, bro. But yeah, let's keep it moving.
Even though Brazil is a 10 times more difficult dating market, both myself and a good buddy of mine that I travel with a lot found it to be a 10 times more rewarding dating market if you can actually score one of the babes over there in Brazil. I have some notes here. So in contrast to what you would see with a girl in Colombia, and especially Medellin, most of these things, most of my dating experience is in Medellin. I'm not trying to stereotype any countries, just talking about my personal experience, what I've experienced, and some of my friends as well. So comparing Medellin specifically to Sao Paulo, Rio, the two cities I know in Brazil, a much, much, much lower rate of sex work, almost unheard of, where you meet a girl and you find out she's an OnlyFans girl or prostitute. The intellect is
Now, right here, I got to touch on this. In Colombia, particularly Medellin, and I kind of touched on this when um, I was in one of my other live shows, especially in Medellin. And this is one of the main reasons when I first traveled here, I went to Barranquilla first back in February. In Medellin, bro, you are going to come across a lot of women that do sex work. The more attractive she is, the more likelihood that she does it. This is from my experience, and he seems to share the same experience when it comes to Medellin specifically. Now, this is one of the reasons why I stressed to you guys getting better at your Spanish and going to the other cities, because when you come to a place like Barranquilla, where I'm at right now, you're not gonna come across women who do sex work as often as you would in, let's say, a Medellin or Cartagena. Cartagena and Medellin are tourist cities. All right, those are tourist cities. A lot of girls go to those cities looking for foreigners to make a quick buck. So understand that if you're going to go to one of those two cities, you're going to have a harder time sifting out the pros to find the regular chicks. Just understand that, all right? This is one of the reasons why I'm considering going to Cali as my next destination in Colombia whenever I decide to come back. But that's going to be another conversation that I'll probably have tomorrow on tomorrow's live as well. All right, let's keep it moving.
night and day difference. The intellectual conversations, night and day difference, obviously in favor of Brazil. The sugar daddy culture, much lower in Brazil. Just in general, girls being employed and being contributing members to society, a lot higher in Brazil. Way more likely to speak English in Brazil. much less likely to have xenophobia, racism, or in general a resentment towards foreigners. Which, if you watch one of my, I'll put the thumbnail. It'll be in the description of the video. My video on Medellin. Yeah, basically, it's kind of fucked being a foreigner there now. I would try a different city, but in Brazil, they don't have this like messed up, judgmental, racist, xenophobic, whatever you want to call it, attitude towards gringos. The time of me making this video, right? Things can change, right? But as the time of me making this video, they're very accepting. And actually, I think Brazil is going to stay kind of untapped and unruined by gringos, unlike other cities in Colombia like Medellin, which I'll talk about at the end of the video.
Now I want to go back real quick because I gotta cover this as well. The part right here when he says the majority of women I met eventually asked for money. I'm letting y'all know right now, you're going to come across this issue as well. All right. You're going to come across this issue, especially if you go to one of these tourist towns. All right. I mean, to be honest with you, I experienced this a little bit in Barranquilla as well. Even the ones that don't ask for money up front, eventually down the line, they're going to ask you for some money. That's just what it comes with. They know you're a foreigner. They tend to think that all foreigners that come down here are rich. I remember I had to keep like the girl who met me at the airport when I first got to Medellin. I had to keep letting her know that, you know, I do okay for myself. I'm not rich. She kept saying, "Oh, nah, you're rich," and I'm just kind of like, honestly, it kind of started to piss me off a little bit because I was thinking to myself, like, how in the hell are you going to tell me if I'm rich or not? You're not looking at my bank accounts. You don't know how much money I make. I don't even show you how much money I make on YouTube. Like, you're literally just solely basing it off the fact that I'm from the United States and I'm in your country. Oh man, appreciate that, Rolando, man. Appreciate that, brother. Like, yeah, you know, I always try to keep the because I know you usually send cash apps. I always try to keep the cash app open, man. So that way I don't miss out on that. Because sometimes my phone be acting like it don't want to let me know when people send it. So I appreciate that, brother. Um, yeah, just fresh out the gym. What's going on, brother? Ain't nothing like being fresh out the gym. Really? Because according to this part in particular, he was living there for 7 years. I don't know, man. But I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, but I would say it's some gringos that probably contributed to that. And another part here that he mentions in certain cities like Medellin, he says the majority of the people despise foreigners. Now, I want to chime in on this because I would be lying to you guys if I said I didn't kind of sense this when I was in Medellin. There was one girl in particular. She gave me her number and everything. And she actually lives in Comuna 13. And she was going to be like my tour guide and what have you, right? But somewhere along the way, she sat up here and said, I can't go with you because I can't be seen with a gringo. And the funny part about it is, though, y'all, she's actually Afro-Colombian, like very attractive. I'm like, but she's Afro-Colombian, so I'm like, she looks just like me, but still couldn't be seen with me because I'm a foreigner. And I caught that vibe from trying to interact with other people, some people in stores. and another thing that I found weird is that I actually had better engagement and conversations with some of the Venezuelans that I met in Colombia in comparison to Colombians. So, hmm, you know what? That's a good point, man. I'm like, I wish I wish I had some footage of some of the homeless people in downtown Cincinnati that be living under these underpass. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, cause some of these people that aren't from, yeah, they really got the impression that everything is sweet here, and it really ain't. Like, it really ain't that sweet, brother. It really ain't, not at all. Oh, hold on, you guys, hold on, man. So my boy Rolando just came in with the $25 cash app. Thank you so much, my brother. Thank you so much. Says, thank you, man. I hope there is still hope. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, indeed, brother. Indeed, brother. Thank you for your contribution to the channel. Um, if you like to support the channel through Cash App, the tag is sitting at the top of the chat. But yeah, man, I've seen pictures of Kensington Avenue, man. It look crazy, bro. And shout out to I Bow Before My Husband, Miss Mama Rada. How you doing this evening? All right, you guys. But yeah, that's one of the vibes that I caught, and this was another topic in particular that I kind of had a little bit of a fallout with somebody behind closed doors. Um, it is what it is. It's like you can't, if a lot of men are sharing the same experience and can give you examples of it, it's like you can't keep just trying to blame it on the person per se, or trying to give the people, an excuse and want to sit over here and say, um, oh, it's just a culture shock. It's just a culture shock. No, other guys are sharing the same experience. Later on, this guy is going to literally show you a Colombian woman who was complaining about it. But I digress. Let's keep it moving.
But as the time of making this video, they're very accepting. And actually, I think Brazil is going to stay kind of untapped and unruined by gringos, unlike other cities in Colombia like Medellin, which I'll talk about at the end of the video. The last thing I found is, even though it's very hard to get Brazilian women on dates, they can be very flaky, very, ghosty. It's a lot easier to get a woman from Medellin on it.
Hey, bro. Hey, my apologies, man. But, bro, dude, everybody and they daddy, man, was trying to link up with me, man. It's just a lot. It's a lot, man. It's a lot. Like I saw about 4 or 5 different guys. It's just a lot going on, man. My bad, brother. It is what it is.
A date, if you can get them out, Brazil's one of the most sexually liberated countries, and kissing and intimacy tends to happen very quickly. For better or worse, depends on what you're looking for. So, speaking of intimacy, in Medellin, Colombia, generally when I would experience physical intimacy with a woman, afterwards, I would just generally want them to leave, to get the hell out right after we finished. I mean, try having an intellectual conversation with somebody who hasn't even heard of what artificial intelligence is. They couldn't point out to where Canada is on a map. They don't know what a hexagon is. I mean, not a lot going on up here in the woman that I personally dated during my 6 or 7 years living there in Medellin, Colombia. And in Brazil, this is not the case. There's stupid people everywhere. There's stupid people in America. America's probably got one of the highest densities of stupid people on the planet. So not to say that, my culture is any better, but for my money in Brazil, my experience, generally, it wasn't like, oh, we finished, let me clean up and I want to get you the fuck out, get you an Uber. No, I actually had interesting conversation with them. They actually, had lives and experiences. They would say things more than just, ay, que lindo, ay, sí, me gusta, ay, no. Like they actually like, they didn't just like speak in like the same 10-second or the same like 10 sound bites that women from Medellin have. They have like, they say like, the same like 5 or 6 things, like all of them are kind of like carbon copies. Whereas I found the Brazilian women to just be infinitely times more interesting and provide a lot more besides just, physical intimacy to their man, but, simulating conversation, et cetera, just in general being, just better women overall, I think, in my experience, at least.
Now, when it comes to that part, can't really agree with that, man. I mean, conversations that I had with women in Colombia were actually, pretty decent. So I can't really say that I agree with that part. I don't know what kind of women he was dealing with. Now, I did meet one or two that were kind of like, okay, you really ain't got much to say or much to talk about. But most women that I met in Colombia, I've had decent conversations with. So yeah, I really don't get that part. Interesting. He flew in Charleston White. That's interesting. Because I'm thinking about doing a reaction to him next because he tried to shit on Passport Bros. But in one interview that he had, but then he turned around and contradicted himself at the same time. So I'll show I'll show y'all guys that when I react to it. Very very interesting, man. Interesting take that you got on Passport Bros. But then let me shut up because I don't want to give it away. But yeah, he contradicted himself all in the same interview, man. It's funny as hell. Yeah, Trey, I know, right? Let's keep it moving.
Okay, so that was kind of like my quick overview. Let me get into some of these other topics we talked about: femininity, average attractiveness, etc. We'll go one by one. So, femininity. This is not even really a close one. Medellin gets the point here for femininity. In a city like Sao Paulo, maybe Rio to a lesser extent, you can get this a little bit of like that feminism stuff. Remember how I said how Brazil is more similar to America than it is Colombia? A bit of that feminism bullshit has penetrated into Brazil, mostly in the bigger cities. I wouldn't imagine, not that I have experience in these cities, but I wouldn't imagine in like the departamento of Manaus, which is like the rainforest, like the Amazon, or the north part Belém, or even a city like Fortaleza, kind of like the northeast, would have this kind of like, fairly strong feminist stuff. But it's definitely penetrated the big cities like Rio and Sao Paulo. But for the most part, they're extremely loving, feminine, cooperative. They're nothing like American women, so I don't want to scare you guys. But in Medellin, they just are a bit more feminine. Gold digger factor, we already talked about this 9 bajillion times higher. About 80 to 90% of the women you will date, if you're a foreigner in Medellin, Colombia, will at some point ask you for money. Ever since 2019, 2020 and beyond, it started around like the end of like 2020, 2021, whereas basically it's only a matter of time. They'll ask you, hey, my headphones broke, buy me some new headphones. Or they'll just outright ask you for money. Major percentage of them doing OnlyFans and stuff like that. I don't have a shitload of experience dating in Brazil. To be fair, I maybe come out with a 2.0 version of this updated when I get more information, but only one Brazilian girl to this day has asked me for money. And it was like some 18-year-old girl. I met her on Instagram. She asked me to buy her address before our date. I said no, and then I blocked her. And then she found me on one of my other Instagram accounts because I had a similar username. And she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, blah 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 blah. I don't mean to come off that way." I still didn't go out with her, right? But I just said, "Hey, asking a guy to buy you something before you've even met or had sex, not a good look." So it only happened once. And there's probably, you know, gold diggers in each country, but way, 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 way fewer in Brazil.
Yo, man, I gotta tell y'all this, bro. And you right, Raw Harris. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to respond to it, because some of the stuff that he's saying, I've had similar experiences, and some of them not so much. But this in particular, yeah. This actually happened to me when I was in Medellin not too long before I came to Barranquilla. There was a girl that I was gonna go out with, right? This girl had the nerve to ask me if I can pay to get her hair and her damn nails done before we went out. Oh my God, bro. I was steaming. I was like, are you serious? I'm like, and the funny part about it is one of the reasons why I liked her, because she was naturally pretty. She didn't have on any makeup or anything in her pictures, because I'm like, I matched with her on Colombian Cupid. And I let her know, like, and plus where we were going, I'm like, you really not, I'm like, you don't need to get all dolled up anyway. Like, I'm like, and it just go to, I'm like, and it just goes to show, bro. Like, this is a real thing, bro. Yeah, man. Just something to be aware of, brother. Just something to be aware of. Let's keep it moving.
Intelligence, you know, we talked about this. Hands down, Brazil gets the point. You know, I just, after they're done, I just didn't want them to leave in general in Brazil. I actually had interesting conversations. You know, girls would say things like, oh, we should ask and see what ChatGPT thinks of that. Or they would say, I don't know, something about, you know, the Roman Empire. I don't know, just something to show that they have a brain, that they studied, that they went to school. Whereas I said in Medellin, very hard to have anything beyond like a super, super basic conversation with them. At least the ones that I dated over 5 years, and most of my friends. I don't know if there's other intelligent ones out there. Don't want to generalize the whole country, but that's just been my experience. We talked about this also, you know, foreigner discrimination, and I put a video about this. To be clear, you know, there are feminine, classy, beautiful women in Medellin, Colombia that are open to dating gringos, but 99% of them won't. It's just seen as like women are very much like follow the leader, follow the pack, don't make waves, way much more so than men are. And, you know, in an attempt to like not disappoint their families and, like I said, just kind of like fit in and be a good little sheep. Most of them, you know, they come from wealthy. If they come from a wealthy, educated family, they just won't mess with a gringo. They'll just kind of like fall in line with that culture there. And we just generally have a bad rap in that city. Whereas in Brazil, you know, there's some like, oh, they might think like, oh, Americans can be arrogant or something like that, right? I'd rather be considered like, oh, this guy's an American, he might be arrogant, than, you know, he's for sure like a sex tourist, he does drugs, you know, no long-term potential with him, etc. So there's way fewer. And, you know, if you have any doubt of this, just get on TikTok in Medellin. You know, TikTok's an app that, you know, localizes based on where you are. Get on Medellin TikTok for a bit, and you'll see the anti-gringo videos come around. It's a pretty hot topic.
I'm going to start off by mentioning what bothers me the most, which is these white motherfuckers from the US making videos saying that, oh my God, living in Medellin is so cheap. You should come here. You're literally fucking our economy up. Like you are, you know what I mean? That's why you're seeing these like fucking posts on the street, like these posters that say like gringos go home, because people are getting tired because you're only here. You motherfuckers are coming here to fucking do drugs, and you go to the Jetas, and you know what you do? You go for little girls, underage girls that you know are fucking underage. You pay them for sex. So when people are like, oh my God, you're being so xenophobic. I bitch, yes, of course I am. Because you're fucking our economy up. You're fucking our youth up.
Like, at least at the time of me making this video, maybe that changes. But as of right now, you know, you walk around the city in Medellin, there's like signs that say like, you know, digital nomads are the new colonizers, gringo go home, get out of my country, etc. And it's palpable, right? You feel the looks and stuff like that, that we're just generally not wanted there. Whereas in Brazil, at least at the time of making this video, they, for the most part, adore foreigners, especially foreigners who speak Portuguese like I do. They're like, wow, a foreigner that speaks Portuguese. So pretty cool. Okay.
Now, this is another topic of conversation that I had behind the scenes with somebody who felt some type of way when I brought it up. And understandably so. I mean, if I'm having this conversation with you and I'm sharing similar experiences to what he mentioned, yeah, you're going to feel a way about it because you're from here, and I understand that. But at the same time, my experience is my experience. And if other guys are seeing this, then you can't sit over here and say that there's not any truth to it simply just because you're from here. But I kind of sensed this when I was in Medellin as well from some people, not all the locals, but some. And I haven't sensed it as much in Barranquilla, but once people can tell that I'm not fluent in Spanish, they do kind of give me that look like, where the hell are you from? What are you doing here? Kind of deal. And it kind of makes me uncomfortable. So and I kind of get tired of repeating myself, all because I always gotta say, no lo sé mucho español, todavía estoy aprendiendo español. Like I kind of get tired of having to say that over and over and over again when I'm asking them simple questions like, tú tienes el menú, um, just something as simple as asking them if they have a menu, and instead of just letting me seeing a menu, they insist on letting me know what they have available or what's the special today. And it's like, man, just let me see the damn menu, please. Like, quit giving me a hard time. It's almost like they try to do it to test you or something. It's weird, but um, yeah, because they assume that everybody in the United States is the same, and it kind of pisses me off. It's getting on my. Ooh, I'm trying not to curse because I already know it's been other people cursing in his video, but yeah, man, it gets on my nerves to be honest with you. I wouldn't say that. I would. Nah, don't say that, bro. Cause it's a lot of brothers in Medellin tricking too. I just came from Medellin and I spent a lot of time in El Poblado. There's brothers down there tricking too. You know what? You may have a point. You may have a point, man. And the funny part about it is, this is another point that I had behind when I was talking to this person. I said, I'm pretty sure I know more Spanish than most people down here know English, but yet I don't give these people a hard time for not knowing a whole lot of English. I'm like, but if you show them that you even know a little bit of Spanish, they talk to you as if like you expect it to be fluent. That's another thing that kind of agitates me. But I'm like, I'm not gonna spend too much time talking. I'm like, that's gonna be more what I talk about tomorrow. I'm like, and this is like one of the reasons why, I'm kind of thinking long term from now. Yeah. Yeah, you might have a yeah, that might be a point because uh you might have a point there because the specials that they mentioned at this restaurant in particular around the corner from me, the special items on there were a little bit more expensive, but not really expensive like as far as like US dollars are concerned. Like I had a lunch the other day called bandeja paisa. Man, you talking about, yeah, y'all gonna see it on my vlog here in the future. Bro, it was like 6 or 7 different items on a plate, and it only came up to like a little bit more than $5. But it's worth it, man, because it was so much food I couldn't even finish it all. Not to mention it came with a soup too. So yeah, man. Oh, okay.